Hi everyone, hope everyone had a good start to 2023, and if you had a few too many drinks last night or on the road to recovery. We do have an announcement for the new bot service, Portugal Bets, and that is giving you plenty of time to sort of overcome the hangover, and hopefully by the time we release the bot you'll have your focus ready on securing a place. So we're gonna have 25 spaces open up on Portugal Bets tonight. We're gonna release the spaces via email first at wadster.co.uk. If you join the waiting list, those will get priority first. We'll email a link, the bot link, and then we'll email the bot link on Telegram and on Twitter about half an hour later or so. So would be pretty surprised if places don't get taken, to be honest, because I think it's a really compelling service, and if you want a profitable service with Pinnacle, it's a very decent probability of that happening. So yeah, make sure to secure your space with the service if you're keen to follow, because obviously if we find that we take the 25 places and the prices are sort of moving a bit already, we might have to shut it for a while or take a bit of heed and throw caution to securing decent prices for members, etc. So it is important to sign up as soon as you can, really, if you do want to guarantee following. We have set up, like, this isn't really something that you guys would be aware of anyway, but obviously we have certain areas of functionality with the bot and certain things that we needed to develop, and we've had no need to have half wins and half losses on the bot up to now. Obviously with AAA Better and Portugal Bets and Bonz Bets, they're both going to be using handicaps minus 0.25 and plus 0.25, and we needed half wins and half losses. That's now going to be possible. And the feature that I was talking about last week with the live bets is now ready, and it's actually even better than I was describing. So the tipster is going to have the option to be able to set the number of minutes for any kind of live bet to expire, any kind of exchange bet even. So I mentioned last year that there were types of pre-match bet that were better on the Betfair exchange than they were at other bookmakers. It might be 4.0 on the Betfair exchange, and then it might be 3.6 at bookies. And obviously that disparity, I can't send that to all subscribers, but it's a genuine pre-match edge that I can send to exchange followers. But in the past year, I could only set the timer for 5 minutes, before the live bet expires. Now what I can do is sort of set that bet to expire an hour later, just before the match starts, sort of thing, and or even manually expire it 5 minutes before the match starts, if that makes sense. And what that's going to allow me is to send a lot more, kind of not have to worry when there is a big difference between exchange and the bookies. I can just send that exchange bet, set a timer for an hour or whatever, give you plenty of time to get on, and then I can manually expire or just set a time so that it's going to expire just before the match starts. And then obviously, of course, we will be able to, us tipsters will be able to manually expire the bets ourselves now for when the prices are no longer possible, etc. So really had a nice revamp of the live betting system, and I'm certainly excited to kind of be able to take advantage of the Betfair exchange a bit more. I am still going to classify those exchange bets where they're pre-match on the live betting spreadsheet. I don't think there's much getting away around it, and it will conflate the different spreadsheets otherwise. But it's definitely one thing that's happening with the bot is just increasing that flexibility, if I want to be able to do something on the bot, I want to be able to do it with great functionality, and my brother is just really good at sort of being able to follow my instructions and follow my lead. So really kind of watch this space for the next few years, because when you think about how much we've developed the bot system from 2019, like I feel like over time we'll continue finding ways to improve it, and all sorts, such as with the editing bets, etc. So really want this to be a platform that you guys really enjoy. And we've actually got another new feature that was suggested by a follower, Hellboy, and he said about the fact that he's in a different time zone and would like to be able to set the time on the bot so that he only receives bets at certain times, rather than having to stop and start each night, and you might forget when you have it on or when you have it off. It does sound cumbersome. It's cumbersome if you're in a different time zone. What we're now going to do is going to have like, this isn't going to be ready right away, but an option where you set the times that you're going to be active on the bot, something from like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. your time or whatever, and then you can just follow the bets when it's at the suitable times for yourself, and that's going to be really like just a good thing to increase a bit of functionality with the bot, and have followers from all sorts of all the different time zones being able to follow in the way that they want, without having notifications in the middle of the night or waking up to, or getting bets you don't want, essentially. So like another example of a feature that we've developed for this year. And like, if you do have any ideas for new features, like, please get in touch, because I really enjoy it sort of improving the bot sort of thing. So yeah, hopefully that continues to happen, and we continue to improve it over time. So yeah, sorry, I've got like a list of things to talk about, so there might be a few pauses in the middle, but yeah, just want to talk about having a solid start on the tennis. Like, really, as I said, I don't want to repeat myself too much from the information I've already sent on the bot, but really happy with my bets this week. Like, the fact that each bet had really solid closing line value, and the one thing that I'm doing I don't think all tipsters do this, when they measure the closing line value, they won't adjust for the fact that Pinnacle are still going to have some overround. They have an average of 90% sort of before the VIG's adjusted for. So it's very easy to say like, oh, I've beaten the closing line because my price has moved from 2.4 to 2.35. But then if you factor in the fact that there's still that 3 or 4% that isn't reflected in the Pinnacle price in the ROI you're claiming, then you're no longer in profit. So or the market no longer would suggest that you're in profit for that bet. So it was really important for me to make sure that the market price is very much being compared to the price that we're tipping, and you can really see the contrast. And if we do have a positive ROI of 7% at the end of the season on the market itself, which I think is very unlikely, I think it's that will certainly drop, but it's very rare to sort of have really good closing line value and then not make profit over a long period of time. I feel like you can do the opposite. Like, I often have bets where I feel like the market isn't going to adjust for what I'm factoring in, and that means there will be times where I don't get closing line value, but I'd still absolutely take that bet. But it's always got to be a good indicator if you are on the right side of the market and you're taking prices that are shortening on a general level. So really happy to see that the bets I'm taking are considerably reducing in price. And even after like you know, the initial price will drop because of the weight of money, but pretty much every single bet continued to fall. It wasn't a case that it was just weight of money and then stop. It was like weight of money, but then, you know, the prices continued to go in the right direction from our perspective. So quick summary of the results from both me and AAA Better, because we've been the only two tipping out on the bot this week. AAA Better had a fantastic week, to be honest. Like, had 15 bets, 8.62 points profit and a 38% ROI. Like, I'm happy with the start that I've made. 6 bets, 2.25 points profit. Overall, we've made £272 profit on the £25 a point system with an ROI of 34.5%. So obviously you can't really take too much from the results in the long term, but at the same time it's just really nice to get off to a solid start, and I think both of us have been very kind of happy with the bets we've taken this week. And as I say, we review our own bets in more detail on our Telegram channels, so feel free to check that out. One thing that I'm going to be really noting on here is the difference between the Bet365 and exchange. If you go on the BettingGS spreadsheet, it gives you the bookies option, and it can show you the stats that I've got on both the Betfair exchange and the Bet365. It's really to just illustrate how exchange friendly I'm gonna try and make my own service, and AAA Better's the same, obviously Premier League, so it's ideal. And obviously a really good start on that. We made more profit on the exchange and Bet365 on the ones that I took, about sort of close to 6 points of profit on the Betfair exchange, and I'll keep sort of updating followers with figures on that, because obviously it's more ideal if you can make your profit on Betfair compared to Bet365 where you can. Just going to talk through the stat of the week. I'm going to just make it a weekly thing I do, and the stat of the week is that we won 7 out of 7 bets in the 1.5 to 2.0 price range, which is obviously what your typical handicapper tips in, and it's what I'd call your bread and butter betting. It's where you just want your strike rate to be consistently solid over a season. It's somewhere that I've excelled quite nicely on my Picchio over a large sample. I think I've got an ROI of 9%, and really good to start with 7 out of 7 between me and AAA Better on that, because that's if you're solid on that, it compensates for your higher odds that aren't going to have the same strike rate and reduces volatility in your portfolio. And then it allows, when you have that really good week with the higher odds hitting as well, and it can really kind of take off. So I thought that was quite a good stat to bring in and illustrate the, you know, the solid foundations to my bot system and the balance that we're going to have. I really think most of the services that are going to be tipping on the service on the bot is going to be generally lower, sort of not too high odds. I don't really want sort of horse racing tipsters with sort of average odds of 10 to 1 plus or etc. I'd rather have consistent profit and consistent, trying to reduce volatility and try and get as many weeks as possible as a profitable one. So yeah, a good start on that front. So a quick overview on Top Notch Jaws bots is the one service I haven't really covered on the betting diary. Had a tough end of the year, to be honest. Last few months on both his Picchio and on the bot leaves us sort of minus 35 points from when we started. But I'm actually pretty optimistic about, I would say cautiously optimistic, based on my chats with Kyriakos. He's a really nice guy to talk to, and really he's another one where you can always ask questions about his bets, and will be very informative, and gave me very detailed sort of figures about the back testing that he's been doing lately. What he's done is sort of changed the data provider that he was using for his strategies, and instead of it being over sort of 6 to 12 month period, he's now using a far longer sort of time period of sort of 10-11 seasons, which has led to bigger sample sizes, and can see more consistency in the trends that he's betting on. The figures in the leagues that he's going to be posting on the bot were very encouraging in my eyes. A few leagues with an ROI of over 10%. The Egyptian league particularly looked very strong and very solid in terms of the system over the back testing. Back testing doesn't always translate, past results doesn't always translate to future results, and of course there's that kind of survivorship bias sort of thing that can come into it, but equally there did seem to be some really strong trends in there, and I'm certainly going to be betting them on my portfolio, on the Betting GS portfolio, and reporting back and seeing how they're doing. And I'd love it if the service goes well as well, because I really think he's put in so much hard work over the last month into kind of refining his service, and I think, well, I'd like to think we are going to see some results that will reflect that. So final things I want to mention are the fact that Bonz Bets bot info is going to be released in the next few days. As I was saying in my betting diary last week, I'm super excited for Bonz service because of that combination of turnover. And the one thing I didn't really mention is just the fact that live bets tend to have higher limits with Bet365 and pre-match, and it's going to be easier to achieve the prices because of that. And also now we've refined our live betting system on the bot, it's going to be just a good chance of showing off quite how efficient it will be. So really excited for him to get started in for the week ahead. So I'll release a bit more information about that tomorrow or the day after, I'm thinking. So yeah, there's that to look forward to as well. And yeah, like, I haven't had time to look through my own tennis for today and for the overnight matches, so that's going to be my priority. I'm going to really focus on, when it's a Sunday, I'm going to shift focus to outright markets. It's a bit weird this week because obviously the tournament with the ATP Cup is an international one that started midweek, but generally speaking you'd have finals on a Sunday and then you'd have the new tournament starting on the Monday, so it's a good day to go through your outright picks. Look at what I want to do is use it as a kind of building block. So if I look at the sort of draw as a whole and go through each quarter, I can then draw more conclusions about matches that I might sort of happen or occur in certain stages of the tournament in the last 16 or the quarterfinal, and then plan bets a bit more in advance. Last year it was a case that I'd kind of structure it so I was almost doing the bets on the fly. I was considering it just day by day, which is fine. Like, I'm still going to be doing that, but I think having this kind of time to allow almost my subconscious to consider bets and consider kind of whether things in a week are going the way I'm expecting or not will also be a nice sort of thing to kind of allow me to track how balanced the week is. I don't know if that makes sense, but if I know that if things are going the way that I'm expecting, then I might be more confident on betting on that week. If I'm seeing that there's a lot of matches where that it's deviating from the expectations I have, I might be more cautious, sort of thing. So yeah, and it also will lead to me betting more on the outrights, which I think I haven't really exploited too well in the last year or two, because I think it is hard because the bookies over rounds are a lot sort of they don't give you much margin to work with at times, but equally I think I've not been keeping a sharp enough eye on the opportunities that are there, and I'm sure they are. So it's definitely a shift in focus this year towards making sure I'm not missing out on value opportunities where possible in the outrights market, because of course if you land a 33-1 winner or 50-1 winner, that's obviously a really decent amount of profit that you're going to be achieving from that. So yeah, just something to think about. So yeah, I guess the next bets I might send them this evening or whenever I've gone through the analysis, and yeah, there'll be a lot of bets I'm sure over the next week, because we're gonna have Bonz bets, we're gonna have Portugal bets, we're gonna have there's plenty of tennis on this week. There's AAA better getting really into the Premier League's in full swing, and of course we've got top-notch shores starting again. So yeah, gonna have 5 services on the go tipping from this point forward. So we'll really kind of see how the bot project develops, and great to say that we've had a nice solid start. So yeah, looking forward to checking in with everyone next week.